Okay, so hello guys. This video, I would like to talk about a monopoly firm and also a monopolistic firm. If you could see that monopoly is a firm that it means mono is one. Yeah, it means that they are the one and only firms in the market. Meanwhile, for the monopolistic firm, it means that it is a firm that is operated in a monopolistically competitive market. So that is the brief definition for these two markets. Okay. So with me, Lutfiana Rahmat, this video will later talk about the two materials. So here is the outline for this video. We will talk first about the monopoly market. Yeah. Uh, and I will explain about the output decision inside the markets and compare it to the perfectly competitive firms. And also, I will talk also about the efficiency comparison between those two. And then I will talk also about the price discrimination and the regulation inside it. And also, I will also talk about the antitrust law. Yeah. And then, and the second big ideas, we will talk about the monopolistically competitive firms. I will talk first about what is the monopolistically competition. Yeah, I will talk about the concept, and then I will also explain to you about how is the price and output shaped in a monopolistically competitive markets. And also, I will also talk about how is the product development and also the marketing inside a firm that is operated in monopolistically competitive markets. Okay, so the first thing first is about the monopoly. Uh, a firm is called monopoly if it is the sole seller of its product and if its product does not have any co-substitutes. It means that the firm is the one and only seller in the market. Yeah, the firm is the one and only producer in the market. So that because they are the only producer, there is no other competitor producing literally the same goods. So the goods that is produced by the firms does not have any close substitutes at all. All right, and then the characteristic number two here. Yeah. Uh, if we talk about the competitive markets, it means that a perfectly competitive markets that we have already talked about it in a previous video. Firms in a perfectly competitive market is a price taker because they take the price shaped by the market. But the firm in a monopoly, the monopoly firm, they are the price maker. It means that they make their own price based on their profit maximizing conditions. Okay, and then the characteristic number three, because they are the price maker, they are able to charge the price that is exceed the marginal cost. What is marginal cost? Marginal cost means the additional cost of producing one good. Ya, here's I write it as tambahan biaya dari memproduksi suatu barang. Okay, and then the characteristic number four, in competitive markets or in a perfectly competitive markets, self-interested consumers and producers reach an equilibrium that promotes general economic well-being as guided by an invisible hand. But in contrast, the outcome in a market with a monopoly is often not in the best interest of the society. So, if we talk about a monopoly market, sometimes the condition that is shaped by the monopoly firms is only bring more benefit to the firms, but not to the consumers. Okay, and then characteristic number five. A monopoly firm can control the price of the good itself because they are the price maker. They can make the price. But because the firms make the price, they could uh, charge the price exceed the marginal cost. That's why it will produce a high price. And this high price this high price in the market, of course, will reduce the quantity that the consumers will buy. Okay, so that later we will know that a monopoly firms could potentially get an unlimited profit. Okay, so that is the characteristic of the monopoly firms. Okay, so next, if we talk about monopoly firms is a firms, yeah, that is has an indicator here. We have learner index. Learner index is an index used to calculate the monopoly power of a firm. So if we would like to calculate the learner index of a firms, yeah, we could calculate it by using this formula: price minus marginal cost per price. Or you could also calculate by this formula: minus 1 per E. E here is the elasticity price of demand. So later, if you take the microeconomics 1 course, you will later know uh, how this equation could be met, could be gotten. Yeah? But just take it as granted for this courses, yeah, that the learner index formula is like that. Okay. Also, learner index is an index that could be used to calculate the monopoly power or the market power. And if you calculate the learner index, it could be a number bigger than 0. As the learner index getting larger, it means that a firm's monopoly power also getting larger. The monopoly power also getting larger. Okay? And because of this equation, yeah, the equation of learner index with the price elasticity of demand, you could also see that if the monopoly price is close to MC when the demand is very elastic, and it increasingly exceeds the MC when the demand becomes less elastic. So this is why a monopoly can arise, yeah, why there is a monopoly. Basically, the first things that makes a monopoly to be arisen, yeah, the fundamental cause of monopoly is the barriers to entry. What is the barriers to entry? It means that if a firms want to enter the monopoly market, if a new firm would like to enter and be a competitor for the existing monopoly, it has a high barriers. The barriers to entry is so high. So it means that it is so difficult for new firms to enter to the market. Okay, and then that barriers to entry could be in the form of many things. The first is the monopoly resources. For example, here's the monopoly resources means that a key resource required for production is owned by a single firm. For example, we have here Water State Corporation or PDAM, Perusahaan Daerah Air Mineral. Yeah. So this PDAM owns the resources to provide clean water for the society. And also, the second is the government regulation. Yeah, the government gives a single firm the exclusive right to produce some goods or services. For example, here we have the Electricity State Corporation or the PLN, Perusahaan Listrik Negara in Indonesia. The governments of Indonesia give the rights to the PLN to supply the electricity all around Indonesia. Yeah. So if there is a new firms that would like to supply the electricity, they will have big barriers. They will be so difficult to enter the market because there is a regulation stated that the only firm that could produce the electricity is only PLN. So it would be a big barrier for the new firms to enter the electricity market. And then the third is the production process. Why is it so difficult to enter a monopoly market? Because usually the existing firms can produce output at a lower cost than can a larger number of firms. Yeah. So here's we call it is a natural monopoly. Yeah. A natural monopoly is a firm that is monopoly by its nature. Yeah. So this natural monopoly is a type of monopoly that arises because a single firm can supply a good or service to an entire market at a lower cost than could two or more firms. Uh, here we have the curve for um, of firms with a natural monopoly power. Yeah, so a firm that is naturally monopoly here have an average total cost, or you maybe you are more familiar with average cost curve. Yeah, the average cost curve of a natural monopoly is always declining. It continually declines. Yeah, in this case, yeah, when the production is divided among more firms, each firm obviously will produce less. Yeah, for example, if there is only one firm, yeah, if there is only one firm there, yeah, so that one firm will produce 20, for example, and the cost would be 8. Okay, the average cost would be 8. Yeah, so if that firm produces 20, and of course the cost is 8. Yeah, the average cost of per good. But if there is a newcomers to the monopoly firms, the existing firm and the newcomers will divide the production. So the existing produce 10, and um, the newcomer also produce 10. So if they are producing 10, the average cost per good would be here, right? The cost to produce per good will be higher than before. Why? Because yeah, they get more uh expensive. Yeah, they're getting more expensive. Yeah. So here's the economies of scale that uh, a natural monopoly has. So they cannot accept any additional firms into the market because an additional firms would only lead to a higher average cost per unit. Okay, so here I have written the comparison between a firm in a perfectly competitive market, yeah, a competitive firm, and also in the right side is a monopoly firm. Before, yeah, you study about the competitive firm. The firm in a competitive firm is a price taker. It means that here in the left side is the firm's curve, yeah, and then in the right side I will draw the market curve. Here's the supply. Okay, here's the demand, yeah, price quantity. Here's the market condition. So the market condition brings the market into an equilibrium here, and the price of the equilibrium is here, yeah. So the firm's demand curve would be a horizontal line, or you could say that the elasticity would be perfectly elastic. Meanwhile, for the monopoly firms, you could see that the monopoly's demand curve or the firm's demand curve, yeah, would be downward sloping, or we could see that this slope is negative. Okay, so that is for the comparison between competitive firms and also monopoly firms. And then here, we actually have said about this term in the revenue concept back when we are preparing the midterm test. Okay. Now, here's I have written an explanation. If you see here, yeah, if you see here, and I bring it there, these firms, the competitive firm has the demand here and the average revenue here. Yeah? Meanwhile, for the monopolist firm, the demand and the average revenue is here. And if we extend the curve, we will get an extension here, like that. And then, do you remember that in the competitive firm's demand curve, the marginal revenue is here. Here's the marginal revenue. Meanwhile, for the monopolist firm, the marginal revenue is here. Yeah, you could see that the length between 0 and MR is equal to the length between MR and the top and the bottom of the demand curve. So here, you could also see that and guess that the slope, yeah, the slope of the marginal revenue will be twice the slope of the average revenue. Yeah. So the slope of marginal revenue will be twice of the slope of average revenue. Yeah. So that is for the monopoly and the competitive firms. Okay. Okay, I will pause the video for a little while. Okay, so we move to this slide. Yeah, in this slide is basically it is the calculation why MR is a half. Yeah, here you can see that MR is a half. The base here is a half of the base in the average revenue. So if you have marginal, if you have an equation for the demand, yeah. For example, you have the demand equation. Price equal 11 here, 11 minus Q. Yeah, here's the demand equation. With this demand equation, yeah, you previously know that there is a total revenue. Total revenue is price times Q. Yeah, you bring the price here. Yeah, you move the equation of price here to here. Yeah, so here we have 11 minus Q times Q. Yeah, so the total revenue would be 11Q minus Q squared. And if you also remember about the revenue concept, there is a concept of marginal revenue or MR. The marginal revenue is basically the first derivation of total revenue. Or here, you could see that marginal revenue is the derivation, is the first differentials, the first derivative, yeah, not the first differential, the first derivative from total revenue and Q. So here, we derive, yeah, minus Q quadrat dQ. And if you study in the math, this would lead to a result. Yeah, marginal revenue would be 11 minus, I mean in key quadrat here, key square here. Okay, key square here, it would be 11 minus 2q. And if you see here, here is the price, or here's the equation of IR. Yes, there's also, we could see that, we could know that the average revenue would be 11 minus q. And then from this perspective, you will see that, yeah, the MR is 11 minus 2q. So here, the average revenue is 11 minus q. So the marginal revenue is 11 minus 2q. So the difference is here. Yeah? And it is always seems like that. If the equation of AR here is, yeah, if the equation of AR here is AR is A minus 2BQ, the equation of MR here would be, I'm sorry, if the equation of demand is A minus BQ, then the equation for MR would be A minus 2BQ. Yeah. Okay, so that is why the marginal revenue is half of the average revenue. Yeah. So you could see that the starting point is the same, 11. Yeah, it's the same, 11 here, 11 also here, 11, 11. So you could see if they have the same 11. So here is 11 also. Yeah, here is 11 also. And then you could see that the slope is steeper for the marginal revenue and flatter for the average revenue. Okay, so here we have the profit maximizing condition. Always remember that profit maximizing condition would be always a condition where the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost. So where is the condition? Here we could see that the condition is here, right? Here is the marginal cost. Wait, where is the marginal cost? Here's the red one. Here's the marginal cost, and then here's the marginal revenue. So yeah, based on those, the profit maximizing condition is in point A. Yeah, so if a firms want to maximize its profit, they should produce at point A, which means that they should produce at Q max here. Yeah, you could draw a strip line here. Yeah, here we should produce at Q max, and then with Q max here, yeah, we move to upright. Yeah, and here we move upright. Sorry, it is so thin. We move upward here. I think I should throw in other color, maybe yellow. Yeah, we move upward, so we will move. We will meet with the average total cost here. So here's the location or the value of the firm's average total cost or average cost, and then we move upright again, and then we will see here's the marginal cost and also the marginal revenue, right? This point A, yeah, where MR equal to MC. And then we move upright, we will see that there is a demand curve. Here's demand is also the same like average revenue and price. Always remember this three is always the same. So here's at point B, it is the price, the monopoly price, yeah, and then also the average revenue. So before, if you study about a competitive firm, you will see this condition: price equal MR equal MC. But for the monopoly firm, you will see this condition: price is larger than MR equal MC. Yeah, like that. Okay. So it is the explanation for the profit maximizing condition in a monopoly firm. Okay. Uh, okay. After checking the OBS, I will move to the condition. So here's the condition, yeah. From the previous, yeah, you could see that the price exceeds the average cost, right? It means that if the price exceeds the average cost, yeah. Do you remember the profit equation? The profit equation, yeah, formula. The formula first is total revenue minus total cost. Do you remember the total revenue formula? The total revenue formula is price times Q. Yeah. So here's the total revenue minus total cost. So what is the total cost formula? Do you remember that average cost? Okay. Wait, I have to stop the OBS first. Okay. Here's so do you remember that the average cost, yeah, average cost is total cost per Q, right? Total cost per quantity. So from this formula, if you would like to calculate the total cost, it would be average cost times Q, right? So here's I move the average cost times Q here. So the profit would be, yeah, I differentiate this, yeah. The Q, I will move the Q outside, means that the profit is P minus AC times Q. So if here we have the price that is higher than the average cost, yeah, like the previous one here, is the price, yeah, here's the price and here's the average cost, and I move it here, the price and the average cost, you will see that the price here is more than average cost. So it means that the price minus AC will produce a number that is exceed or that is more than 0. So here's P minus AC will be positive, right? And we also know that the quantity we produce would be always the positive sign also. So here's we have the profit that is positive or the positive economic profit. Positive economic profit. Yeah. So where is the profit? The profit is the area. Price minus AC. Yeah. Here's the distance between price and AC times Q. Where's the Q that we want to produce? Here, right? So I move the line there to here. Yeah. So we have what is that? Rectangle. Yeah. This rectangle is shows that this rectangle shows the monopoly profit of a monopolist, right? That is for the profit in a monopoly firms. Okay, so here is the difference between a perfectly competitive markets and a monopoly firms. In a monopoly, we could see that there is an inefficiency. Yeah, why there will be shown uh, inefficiency here because you could see that the marginal revenue and the marginal cost is here, right? Here's the marginal revenue and the marginal cost. So wait. So this area would be the marginal cost, right? Because it is the marginal revenue minus the marginal cost. Okay. So this area would be the marginal cost. You could see that the price exceeds the marginal cost. Yeah, because this the price above the marginal cost. Not all consumers who value the good at more than its cost by it. Yeah, we could see that the price is how consumers value the goods, while the marginal cost is the price of producing an additional good. And here we could see that not all consumers value the good at more than the marginal cost. Jadi in Indonesia meaning that nggak semua orang nih menilai barangnya itu setinggi harga yang mau diterapkan sama monopoli. Jadi apa? Jadi kan because its price is too high, yeah, there is only few consumers who want to buy it. So here, if it is the efficient quantity here, yeah, the demand and the marginal cost, the intersection between those two is the efficient quantity. We will see that the monopoly quantity will be below the efficient quantity. So here we could see there is a deadweight loss area. Yeah, the deadweight loss area is in this triangle. Basically, the deadweight loss area is the area of surplus that is lost due to the monopoly rising. Okay, and then in this screen, I will explain about the price discrimination. Basically, the price discrimination is a business practice of selling the same good at a different price. So, producer charge different price to different consumers. Yeah, note that price discrimination is not possible. Yeah, it's not possible when a good is sold in a competitive market, but it is possible if it is in the monopoly market. Okay, so here there is a perfect price discrimination. A perfect price discrimination describes a situation in which the monopolists know exactly each consumer's willingness to pay. So if the firms is already know about its consumers' willingness to pay, they are able to charge the price based on its consumers' willingness to pay. Yeah. So yeah, the price charge will be based on those two. Okay. So if we talk about in this part first, yeah. If we see that if a monopoly charges a single price for the markets, we will see here's the condition like what we have stated here. The profit condition is there, yeah, the profit area is there. But if a monopoly, yeah, charges a price other than this price, yeah, above that price here, above or below, yeah, or below, yeah, charging a price here, yeah, charging a price here, all of the area of the triangle would be the profit area for the monopoly. So here's if a monopoly introducing price discrimination, they could take the consumer's area, the consumer surplus area here, and the surplus consumer area there. So all this triangle would be for the profit of the firms. Also, so that is how a price discrimination works. Okay. Uh, there is there is 3 degree of price discrimination. The first degree price discrimination is the firms charge a different price among different consumers depending on their willingness to pay. Yeah, here's depending on their willingness to pay. Okay, and the type that could be perfect, yeah, it means that the firms know exactly each consumer's willingness to pay, know exactly each. But in the imperfect, it means that the producer does not know, yeah, its consumer's willingness to pay. And then the second price discrimination, yeah, here the firms charge different price among consumers depending the amount they bought. For example, if you buy 12, you will get 1 for free. And then the third degree price discrimination is charging different price among consumers depending on the groups they are categorized in. For example, if you see the cinema ticket for the weekend and for the weekday, you will see a gap between the ticket price. Yeah, the weekday price would be a lot of more cheaper than the weekend cinema. It means that the producer would charge a higher price to those who are only able to watch the movie in the weekend. Yeah, so basically, the producer expect that those who are who are watching a movie in the weekend is the one who are working in the weekdays, so they are able to buy movie ticket for a higher price. Okay, so that is the price discrimination. And then later, I will also talk about the public policy towards monopolies. Yeah, sometimes to make sure that the monopoly does not produce a lot of inefficiencies, sometimes the government induces a public policy. For example, one, the government increasing the competition in the market with antitrust law. Yeah, or in Indonesia, antitrust law meaning that undang-undang anti monopoli. Yeah. Here, in this antitrust laws, the government prevent firms to merge. Yeah, so they are preventing a firms within quite same within with a firm two firms that is operated within quite same markets to merge into one market. So you could see that we have recently we have Indonesia sees a phenomena of merger between Tokopedia and Gojek. Yeah. So uh, basically, our law does not warn that. Yeah, doesn't prevent that because yeah, they are both not in the same markets. But if they are both in the same markets, there would be rules that is preventing them from for doing the measures. And then the antitrust laws also allow the government to break up a large company into smaller ones so that they will not have that quite big monopoly power. Okay, and then also the government as a public policy makers, uh, it could uh, it could make a regulation to deal with the monopolies problem. For example, before we talk about the price in the monopoly market, could uh, charge the price exceed the marginal cost. So in this regulation, yeah, government could set a regulation that a firm should sell the product at its marginal cost. Yeah, it could also. Okay, so and then for the public ownership also, yeah, the government could take over the firm so that that firms is run by the government, and also the government could doing nothing. Yeah, for example, yeah, the Tokopedia and Gojek. Yeah, we see that the government of Indonesia do nothing about it. Okay, so here is regulating, yeah, regulation here in number two. Uh, the government regulates that the price that should be charged by the monopoly in a monopoly market should be the same like the marginal cost. Here's if you see, yeah, for example, the marginal revenue equals to the marginal cost. Yeah, for example, for the for the monopoly firms, yeah, the firms should charge price below the marginal cost. I mean, the same like the marginal cost. So here's the marginal cost, yeah, of the firms. Here's the marginal cost. Yeah, if you see this regulated price is below the average cost, so regulating the price equal to MC will lead the firms into a loss. So basically, this regulation is not preferred by the monopoly firms. Yeah. Okay. So here's some summary comparison between the perfectly competitive markets and also the monopoly firms. And then later we will discuss about the monopolistic firms competition. Here's if you see, if you want to categorize firms which structure they are in, you could see first by asking what is the number of the firms. If it is one firm, then it is obviously a monopoly. But if it consists of few firms that is capitalize the markets or that is lead the market, it is an oligopoly. But if there is so many firms, it depends. What type of products? If the product is differentiated, then it is a monopolistic competition. But if the product is identical or homogeneous, it is the perfect competition. So that is how you could differentiate the firms. Okay. And then if we talk about monopolistic competition is a market structure in which many firms sell the products that are not identical, yeah, that are not similar. I mean, they are similar but not identical, yeah. They are the same, but they are differentiated. I'm sorry, my pen is broken. Yeah, so they are differentiated. Okay, so to be more precise, I mean, monopolistic competition describe a market with the following attributes. There are so many sellers. There is product differentiation. Yeah. So what is product differentiation? Each firm produces a product that is slightly different from the product produced by other firms. Yeah. Thus, rather than being a price taker, each firm face a downward sloping curve. It means that later we will talk that a monopolistically competition firms will be a price taker. Yes, I'm sorry, price maker. Yeah. So the firms inside it is a price maker. Yeah. So you could always remember, you should always remember that the firms that is price taker is only the firms in the perfectly competitive markets. Remember, the firm that is a price taker is always comes from a perfectly competitive market. Okay, that is to be highlighted. Then later we will also see that the monopolistic competition is a competition that is the newcomers or the new firms could easily get into the market, and the old firms could easily go and exiting the market. Okay, they will enter if the market is profit, and they will exit if the market is loss. Yeah. So okay, I will pause this video first. Okay, we will continue in the next topic. It is about monopolistic competition in the short run. Okay, so here in the short run, a monopolistic competition firms, firms in the monopolistic competition could makes profit or makes losses, or even it is could make nothing of the both. Yeah, it means that it has a zero economic profit. Yeah, if the firms makes profit, it means that its economic profit is more than zero. Meanwhile, if the firms makes losses, so its economic profit is below zero. Yeah. So if we try to explain them with the curves here, I will draw the curve here. So basically, always remember that firms is always producing at MR equal to MC. So here's the point that the firms must produce is here, yeah, to maximize the profit. Remember, it is the profit maximizing condition. So the firm should produce at this point with this quantity. Okay. So also at this point, if we move upward, here we meet the MC curve, right? Here the marginal cost curve and also the marginal revenue curve. Okay, and the marginal revenue curve. Okay, and then if we move upward, here we have average cost, right? Here average cost, and if we move upward, again we meet the price curve or the demand curve. Yeah, the price is always in the demand. Remember that demand is always the price and also always the average revenue. So here's we have price here and the average cost is below the price. Yeah, the average cost is below the price. So here we know that the price is larger than the average cost, meaning that the firm's makes profit. Okay. Meanwhile, in the right side here, MR equal MC is here, and then we produce at this point, yeah, Q here with MR MC here MC, and we move upward. We meet the price curve here because it is the demand curve, right? So it is the price, and then we move upward. We meet the average cost curve here. So here's our average cost. Okay, so here's our average cost. So if we see in this curve, the price is below the average cost. And it means that the firms lost. Okay, so that is the short run equilibrium in a monopolistic competitive firms. Okay, now after talking about the equilibrium in the short run, we will jump into the equilibrium in the long run. Remember that the monopolistically competitive firms has this characteristic: free entry, yeah, free entry and exit. And do you remember that this characteristic is also uh, is also there for the perfectly competitive firms. So basically, these characteristics, yeah, it means that if the firm profit is more than zero, new firms will enter, or there will be entry in the markets. It means that later the profit will decrease as the entry gets larger. And then if the profit is below zero, the firms inside the market will exit because they lost. As they are exiting, yeah, the price will increase and later the profit will going to zero until there is no firms stopped. I mean there is no firms left to the market. Meanwhile, in the left side, yeah, I'm sorry, I have not yet completed it. If the profit is larger than zero, there will be very interesting for new firms to enter the market. So if they are entering the market, since there are so many producers, yeah, the supply curve shifts to the right, and we will see that the price will get down. Okay, later if the price get down, the profit will decrease gradually until the profit becomes zero. So basically in the long run, because of these characteristics of free entry and free exit, yeah, the firms in the end, in the long run, will experience a zero economic profit here. They will they will always experience a zero economic profit. Okay, so that is my explanation about the monopoly and also the monopolistically competitive firms. And this is our conclusion so far for the perfect competition. Yeah, for the perfect competition here, for the monopolistic competition, and for the monopoly. Okay, so here we could see that all firms, yeah, and the first characteristic, all firms always producing at marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Okay, and all firms can earn profit in the short run. All can, yeah. But if we talk about a price tag, who is the price taker? The price taker is only the firms in the perfect competition. And the one also, if we talk about price, yeah, if if the firms is price taker, then the price will equal to MC. Otherwise, it is not. Okay, and then if the price is price taker, meaning that the price equal to marginal cost, then it will maximize the welfare. Yeah, the level of output will maximize the welfare of the society. And we talk about the number of firms. There are so many in the perfectly competition markets. And then in the monopolistic also there are so many. But uh, what differentiate perfect competitive and monopolistic competition is the product. In the monopolistic, we have differentiated product. Meanwhile, in the perfect competition, we have homogeneous or identical products. Meanwhile, in the monopoly, there is only one number, one firm. Okay, then we talk about entry in the long run. In the long run, yeah, there is free entry and free exit. Yeah, yes, free entry and free exit. Meanwhile, for the monopoly, there is no entry in the long run, meaning that it is so difficult to enter or exit the market. Or we said before, as there is so many, there is high barriers to entry and exit. And then for both perfect competition, competitive market and monopolistically competitive market, they cannot earn economic profit in the long run because they are all in the long run have zero economic profit. Or here I will write it down as all they have zero economic profit. Yeah, economic profit that is zero. Meanwhile, for the monopoly, in the long run, yeah, they will have an economic profit, meaning that their profit, yeah, is larger than zero. Yeah. Later we will always say that if the profit is larger than zero, it means that the firms experience a positive economic profit. Okay, so that's all. The video about the materials. I hope this video helps. I hope you found this video helpful for your study, and I'm sorry for taking so much of your time. And good luck for your study in FABOE and for your examinations. Thank you.